Welcome back to Dark Cinema Recaps. Like and subscribe for the best horror recaps. Today we're looking at All Hallows Eve, the directorial debut of Damien Leone. Cheers for this, Damien. Nice one. You penis. Before Art the Clown was the megastar of horror he is today, let's take a look at his titular beginnings, before we look at Terrifier 2 next week. After a night of trick-or-treating on Halloween, babysitter Sarah is surprised to see that children Tia and Timmy have received an unmarked VHS tape in one of their bags. The children convince Sarah to allow them to watch the tape, fucking genius that, which contains 3 stories, each of which features a homicidal clown named Art. Mental. This came out a year after the first VHS movie. The first segment features a young woman named Casey, who is drugged and kidnapped by Art the Clown while waiting for a train. She awakens to find herself chained in a room with 2 other women, Kristen and Sarah. When Sarah is dragged away by her chain, Casey and Kristen decide to follow where their chains lead. You deserve everything you get. Upon reaching the end of the chains, Casey attempts to break the chains with a large rock. I said rock, get your head from the gutter, but is interrupted by a deformed humanoid who dismembers Kristen with a cleaver. The humanoid unwittingly frees Casey by severing her chains with the cleaver, but she soon is tied down and surrounded by hooded figures. After watching the figures remove a fetus from the womb, I'll save you the image, of a restrained pregnant woman, Casey is raped by Satan. Yeah. That fucking happened. WTF is this movie? After the segment ends, Sarah sends Tia and Timmy to bed and decides to continue watching the VHS tape by herself. The second segment features Caroline, a woman who has just moved into a new countryside home. A bright object crashes near the house at night, and a power outage occurs. Caroline finds that her phone and car are malfunctioning and suspects that someone other than herself is in the house. She suddenly receives a call from her husband, John, a painter, but the connection soon breaks. She discovers that she is being stalked by an alien, and after managing to disorient it, she hides in a small room under a staircase. There, her phone rings again, alerting the alien to her location. As the alien drags her off, she pulls a sheet off of one of John's paintings, revealing an image of Art the Clown. The third and final segment features a costume designer driving down an isolated road. Stopping at a gas station, she finds the attendant furiously kicking out Art, who had apparently smeared feces, that sound familiar, should call him Part the Clown, on the gas station's bathroom walls. The attendant fills her tank and hears a noise from inside the gas station while giving the costume designer directions. He goes inside to investigate, and when he does not return, the costume designer enters the building and sees Art chopping up the attendant's body with a fucking hacksaw. She flees, and an absurdly long chase ensues. Art eventually appears behind her seat in her car and attempts to suffocate her with cellophane. She slams on the brakes and escapes, barricading herself inside a large shed. Art digs his way into the shed and slashes her with a makeshift whip composed of sharp instruments. She stabs Art in the eye with a scalpel and in the back with a knife. She escapes again and is picked up by a man who tries to drive her to a nearby police station. Art follows them in a car and shoots the man in the head with a handgun, causing their car to crash into a tree. After some time, the costume designer regains consciousness on a crude operating table and finds that Art has amputated her limbs and breasts and carved misogynistic obscenities into her body. Disturbed, Sarah turns off the television. A home phone rings, and when Sarah answers it, she hears the costume designer from the third segment pleading for help. The television turns back on, displaying a dingy room. Art steps into the frame, approaches Sarah from within the screen, and begins to pound on the glass. Sarah then sees herself on the television screen, with Art behind her. She frantically removes the tape from the VCR and smashes it on the floor, destroying it. Shortly afterwards, she hears Tia and Timmy scream. Sarah runs upstairs and sees Art the clown outside their room, covered in blood, laughing at her and gleefully gesturing for her to enter. Sarah covers her eyes in terror. When she uncovers them seconds later, Art has disappeared. Sarah enters the room, finding just Tia and Timmy's severed heads, and ART written on the wall in blood. Cheers, Damien. Nice one.